Hello, my name is Brie, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel, Breezy Banter, the place where I talk about the things I want to talk about. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a continuation of the series that I have here on YouTube, where I discuss a particular indie perfume house and my overall experience with that store. The particular house that I'm doing for this video is called Arcana Craves, or Arcana. I'll probably say a mixture of both of them throughout this video. I'm not quite sure which is correct. But throughout the video, what I'll do is I'll tell you the perfume name, what I rated it out of 10, whether or not I would full size it, the notes, and then my description of the scent itself. One thing I'll note is, generally speaking, if I rate something an 8 or higher out of 10, there's a fairly good chance that I'll full size it. If I rate it less than that, then I very likely won't. Anything between a 4 to 7 is an average rating, and anything below that is a very bad rating. And before we begin, I'll also talk a little bit about the scents that I tend to prefer. I've said before that my favorite scents tend to be very feminine leaning. I really enjoy gourmand scents. I've said that my ideal scent would be one that has me smelling like a lime cupcake, basically. I want to smell like very sugary, sweet, feminine, that sort of thing. In terms of notes that I don't like, generally speaking, anything that leans more masculine, sometimes androgynous, doesn't tend to work for me. So notes such as incense or wood, I don't tend to enjoy. And then there are some notes that can be hit or miss, just depending. I find a lot of fruit notes tend to be like this. So strawberry, I would say, tends to be better, or I tend to enjoy it more than, say, apple. I'll also note that rose is one of my most detested notes. So I'm not sure how many of the scents that I've tried from Arcana Craves has rose as a note. I don't think it's that many, but that's something to just keep in mind as well. So let's get started. The first perfume that I tried from them is called Blueberries Crave Home. I rated this 5 out of 10, and I will not be full sizing it. The notes are a cozy, comforting, nostalgic mix of warm blueberry muffins, freshly baked bread, blueberry preserves, brown sugar, and gentle, creamy vanilla. And I said that this scent is basically blueberries mixed with bread. Because of my experience with that blueberry note, I had 2 other blueberry scents. One is called Blueberries Crave Black Cats and Blueberries Crave Sunshine. And I didn't try either of those because I didn't like the blueberry note in Blueberries Crave Home. So I ended up destashing them without ever trying them. So I'm going to skip over those. Next was a layering note called Buttercream Frosting, which I rated 8 out of 10, and I will not be full sizing it. The notes are clouds of powdered sugar are lavished over creamy whipped butter and plump vanilla beans, a rich and buttery buttercream confection. I said this scent is nice, but I prefer the Buttercream Frosting perfume from Cocoa Pink. Next is another layering note called Cake Batter Ice Cream. I rated this 9 out of 10 and would like to full size it. It's described as yellow cake batter is blended into cold creamy ice cream with extra vanilla and a smattering of sprinkles. I said as described. I find that tends to be true with layering notes. Next is Cotton Candy, which again is a layering note. I rated this 7 out of 10 and I will not be full sizing it. It's described as fluffy spun sweetness with twirls of sugar and hints of pink cherry. I said this is a lovely single note scent. However, I think it faded more quickly than other cotton candy perfumes that I have. Next is another layering scent. It's called Creamsicle. I rated this 10 out of 10, and I have since full-sized it. It's described as Mexican vanilla extract with sweet blood oranges, ripe tangerines, and cold ice cream. I said this scent is a lovely creamsicle scent. It's very creamy, sweet, and slightly citrusy. Next is the scent Frigg, which I rated 8 out of 10, and I might full size. The notes are black tonka bean, raw cashmere wool, French bakery vanilla, soft warm skin, confectionery sugar, and sweet almond. I said this is a very soft, sweet, and cozy scent, and it smells as described. Next is Honey Craves Coffee Shops. I rated this 5 out of 10 and will not be full sizing it. It's described as the warm convivial aromas of a neighborhood gathering place. Roasting coffee beans, honey drizzled cake, freshly baked vanilla cookies, soft overstuffed chairs, and a hint of steamed milk. I said it turns out I just don't really like honey scents, and it is as described. I find honey, I think my skin tends to amp honey, like it amplifies the note, and so anything, If honey is like a predominant note within the scent, then that's like all I'm gonna smell on my skin. However, if honey tends to be less concentrated within the fragrance, then I find that I tend to enjoy it a lot more. And I think particularly for this scent, it was quite strong. Next is Honey Craves Fairy Rings, which I rated 8 out of 10 and will not be full sizing. It says a fey blend of crystallized honeycomb, sugared coconut, dark Tahitian vanilla, narcotic tuberose, salty ambergris, I think it's ambergris, peach creme, a hint of iris, a twist of lemon, and the spores from a vast mycelial network. I said this is a really nice blend of sweetness, vanilla, and honey. Well, ultimately it is very much up my alley. I think there are other scents that have this mixture in a way that I prefer over this one. Next is Honey Craves Ice Cream Parlors. I rated 7 out of 10 and will not be full sizing. It's described as sweet, cold scoops of pleasure, pistachio ice cream, honey ice cream, Madagascar vanilla gelato, and a chilled porcelain bowl. I said this might be the sweetest scent I've ever tried. It's like honeyed sugar. It's delicious, but also really sweet. So I don't remember this one all that well. I'm surprised that I only rated it 7 out of 10 because very sweet scents tend to be my thing, but maybe I hit the threshold with that one. Next is Marshmallows Pounce. I rated this 7 out of 10 and will not be full sizing it. The notes are marshmallows with brown sugar, sweet peaches, and white tea. I said this scent started out awful, but after about 10 minutes, it started to melt into a delicious, sugary, musky, and peachy scent with the slightest amount of smoke. It is quite nice. Next is Peaches Crave Dolce, which I rated 7 out of 10 and will not be full sizing it. It's described as peach gelato and pistachio gelato with 3 golden bakery cakes. I said that this is definitely a peach heavy scent. I don't think I really get any cake notes from it, but it is quite sweet. It's fun. Next is Peaches Crave Vanilla. I rated this 6 out of 10 and will not be full sizing it. The notes are sugared peach, glorious vanilla, marshmallows, sweet milk, and sheer musk. I said this smells like fuzzy peaches. If you're not familiar with fuzzy peaches, it's like a type of candy that I haven't seen in a very long time. I'm not sure if they still sell them, but it's a type of candy that I used to have as a kid. Next is Peaches Crave Wild Summers. I rated this 6 out of 10. The notes, and so I will not be full sizing it. The notes are an ode to sunshine, flip-flops, and spontaneous late summer road trips, cold cherry popsicles, homemade peach marmalade, coconut scented sunscreen, Tahitian vanilla beans, soft warm air, and a bit of sweetened jasmine. I said the scent lives up to its name and description. It's very summery and sweet, like melted peach ice cream. Next is the scent Pistachio Gelato. I rated this 9 out of 10, and I would like to full size it. The notes are cold swirls of gelato with French vanilla beans and sweet, nutty pistachios. I said I was quite nervous about how the pistachio would smell on my skin, but this is a creamy, sweet, and yes, slightly nutty scent. It's really nice on its own. Pistachio Gelato is a layering note, which is why I made that comment. Next is Pumpkin's Crave Pointe Shoes, which I rated 7 out of 10, and so I will not be full sizing it. The notes are creamy pumpkin and sweet orange, cinnamon, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, with the Arcana Wildcraft's 2-Finger Ballet, which is a delicate blend of French vanilla creme, white amber, sugared vanilla beans, caramel, and the smallest dab of opium. I said the scent is really nice, but I suspect that's because of the 2-Finger Ballet part, which is a perfume from their sister brand. And I said I would prefer to just wear the scent over this one. Next is Pumpkin's Crave Quietude, which is probably their most popular scent if I had to make a guess. I rated this 8 out of 10 and I will not be full sizing it. The notes are soft vanilla, white amber, white musk, Mysore sandalwood, sweet pumpkin, and a tiny pinch of white pepper. I said that this scent is as good as everyone says it is. It is soft and warm and yet a little spicy from the pepper. Overall, it is a very nice blend. Next is Pumpkin's Crave Wraiths, which I rated 7 out of 10, and I will not be full sizing it. The notes are ghostly white vanilla with black mission migs, gossamer, wraith musk, gingerbread, sheer coconut milk, and pumpkin. I said that the pumpkin starts off as the strongest note, but the scent settles into a really delicious and sweet vanilla and musky mix, with the pumpkin fading to the background. Next is Raspberry Whip, which is a layering note. Rated this 4 out of 10 and will not be full sizing it. It's described as Arcana's whipped cream, which is chilled heavy cream, is deeply infused with Tahitian vanilla and then whipped into soft white peaks. It's blended with raspberry nectar and fresh raspberries. I said the scent is nice as it weakens over time. At first application has a very, very strong tart cherry scent. Over time it became more creamy and more vanilla-y. Next is the scent Rich Vanilla, which I believe was a layering note. I rated this 8 out of 10 and might full size it. It's described as a deep, rich gourmand scent laced with French creme and dark Madagascar vanilla extract. I said this is pretty standard for a vanilla scent, but it is delicious and incredible. It's kind of hard to go wrong with vanilla and French creme. Next is a scent that I don't know how to pronounce, so I'm gonna have Google do it for me.
We are looking at how to pronounce this name as well as how to say more interesting names from Norse mythology. So make sure to stay tuned and consider subscribing for more learning. She is a goddess associated with love. Yes, so how do you say it? Sjöfn. Sjöfn. Pretty straightforward once you know. Goddess of love.
Okay, I rated it 4 out of 10 and will not be full sizing it. I had really high hopes for this one, but it's described as chilled lemon cakes drizzled with vanilla icing, a profusion of hyacinth, lilac, and gardenia petals, creamy sandalwood, a soft pile of pillows, and a touch of carrot seed. And I said I get slightly sweet lemon cleaning spray from this. I was pretty disappointed with that one because it sounded exactly up my alley. As I said earlier, like a lemon or lime cupcake. This is like lemon cake. Like you would think I would enjoy it. But lemon scents do have that difficulty of balancing it against what often smells like cleaning product. Next is Strawberries Crave Helios. I rated this 9 out of 10 and I would like to full size it. It's strawberry jam with juicy blackberries, lemonade, limeade, and pure white amber. I said this scent is super sweet, cloying even, but I caught different whiffs of myself throughout the day and each time a different note came forward and each time it was absolutely delightful. Next is Strawberries Crave Ice Cream. I rated this 7 out of 10, and I will not be full sizing it. It's described as pink strawberries are crushed with Mexican vanilla beans and blended into vegan accords of fresh milk, sugar, and cream. I said that this scent is nice and sweet. I definitely get strawberry from it, but less so ice cream. I do get some slightly spicy creaminess though. Next is Strawberries Crave Indulgence. I rated this 8 out of 10 and might full size it. The notes are French vanilla, white amber, sugared vanilla beans, caramel, ladyfinger cookies, opium, strawberry creme, and the faintest whiff of tobacco. I said that this scent is a really nice and sweet strawberry scent. I definitely get rich, creamy strawberries with the tiniest amount of tobacco in it. It would be lovely in the summer in particular. Next is Strawberries Crave Lucy, which I rated 7 out of 10 and will not be full sizing it. It's described as Arcana Wildcraft's Surfers on Acid blend, which is sweet coconut milk, pineapple, and absinthe with pink strawberry. I said that this is definitely a strawberry / tropical fruit / musk scent. I sort of get ambrosia from this. It's sweet, fruity, and musky. It'd be nice in the summertime in particular. Next is Strawberries Crave Pie, which I rated 8 out of 10 and will not be full sizing. It's described as pink and red strawberries with tender pie crust, vanilla bean, and sprinkling of brown and white sugars. I said the scent is sweet and gourmand and great. I just don't need to smell like it on the regular. Next is Vanilla Craves Bread, which I rated 5 out of 10, will not be full sizing it. It's described as vanilla bean, soft brown bread, a drizzle of honey, and a hint of bakery yeast. I said that this scent is good in theory, less so in practice. It smells basically as you would expect. It also made my skin itchy and red, though none of the listed ingredients are typical irritants for me. So one thing I didn't mention at the beginning is I have somewhat sensitive skin in that if I apply something that has spice notes in particular, like cinnamon or nutmeg, that can often cause irritation on my skin. I don't think I've experienced it yet where that doesn't go away after like a couple minutes. So it's not uncommon for me to try, for example, a cinnamon scent, find that it irritates my skin and it goes away. I just want to make note of that. So it's just odd in this particular case that it did that, given that there's nothing in the notes that would indicate that it would irritate my skin. Next is the scent Vanilla Craves Crescent Moons. I rated this 8 out of 10 and might full size it. The notes are a silken lunar blend to honor our mother, the moon. Blushing pink cherry blossoms are lightly infused into cold milk with the softest, fluffiest Mexican vanilla, caramelized tonka bean, cane sugar, and a bit of sweet hay. I said the scent is really nice, but I mostly got vanilla soaked bread. At first I thought Crescent's moons might be referring to croissants because of it, but that isn't the case. Next is Vanilla Craves Enchanted Cottages, which I rated 6 out of 10 and will not be full sizing it. The notes are an opening of banana flambe and vanilla creme anglaise leads to the wafting scents of a rose garden sanctuary covered in morning dew, rose, geranium, ylang ylang, bananas dipped in brown sugar, sweet cacao, sheer almond, and gnarled pine branches from the deep woods. I said, I don't get banana from the scent at all. The scent is difficult to describe. I can get some floral sweet vanilla notes, but that's about it. Next is Vanilla Crave Sugar Cookies. I rated this 8 out of 10 and will not be full sizing it. The notes are warm sugar cookies are infused with 3 gourmand vanillas and a hint of vanilla musk. I said the scent got better and richer over the course of the day. At first I got more of the sugar cookie notes and it wasn't very sweet. I am conflicted. Next is Watermelon, which was a layering note. I rated this 8 out of 10 and will not be full sizing it. The notes are the scent of watermelon, sun-warmed and lightly dusted with sugar crystals. I said, yep, that's watermelon. Next is White Cake, which I rated 9 out of 10, and I would like to full size it. It's described as vanilla-infused white cake with a fine, delicate crumb. This is equally sweet, but less rich and dense than Arcana's Yellow Cake. And my description for this was, yep, that's white cake. Lastly is Yellow Cake, which I rated 9 out of 10, and I would like to full size it. It's described as the scent of a sweet, rich, golden bakery cake with vanilla bean. And again, that scent was as described. So I think you can see here that I had pretty good success with Arcana and Craves as a brand. There were a handful of notes basically that I found out don't work for me, particularly from this house, such as blueberry. I think almost anything that had bread in it in some capacity, I tended to rate a bit lower as well. I think in terms of who Arcana and Craves would really work for are people who enjoy mixing and matching. As I mentioned, I tried several of their layering notes, and basically people who enjoy gourmands. As I mentioned earlier, I do enjoy gourmands, so I think that also explains my high success rate with this brand. With that in mind though, what I will move into next is discussing my customer service experience with the brand, including buying from them. And in this particular case, it's a unique situation because I've never actually bought from the brand itself. Every single scent that I mentioned here, I either bought via a decanter or I received it in a swap. Like I purchased from someone who had it in their collection and wanted to destash it. So I can't actually comment on the shop's turnaround time or anything like that, or whether I've had any experiences, positive or negative, with their customer service, because I've never ordered from them. But with that in mind, one thing that I absolutely need to mention is that Arcana Craves has closed down their website. When Arcana Craves closed their doors, they mentioned that there is a company called Femme Fatale Cosmetics, that I believe is based out of Australia, who carries not their entire collection, but many of the, let's say, most popular scents. And my understanding is that they were also intending on finding a US distributor as well. I haven't heard any news on that front about whether or not they found someone and will be able to sell their perfumes via that distributor, but that is something that I would expect would happen in perhaps the coming months. And with that said, I also want to mention that there is some drama surrounding this brand that I will mention, and you as a viewer can decide what you want to do with it. My understanding is that for the most part, Arcana Craves is, let's say before a year ago, they were a very widely respected and adored perfumery within the indie perfume sphere. However, there's another indie perfume house called 1692 that has horror story after horror story about their customer service. Very, very long story short, because I've only read about this, this was happening before and during when I first got into the indie sphere, so I've never ordered from 1692 myself either. 1692, basically, my understanding, allegedly, is that they had orders coming in and they just straight up didn't fulfill them. people would have to reach out like months and months and months later to say like, hey, I paid you, I would like my package, and nothing would happen. They wouldn't receive their package. I think in a lot of cases, the the timeline in which you have to initiate a chargeback had already passed, and it was really, as you can imagine, if you buy something, like you want to receive it, right? And I think that was particularly sad within the community. Again, in particular, because my understanding is the scents that came from 1692 are beloved, very talented perfume house, however, very bad on the business side of things. The reason I'm mentioning this is because 1692, the owner of 1692 and the owner of Arcana Craves were going to do like a collaboration of some sort. I don't know if they actually ended up doing it, but they either are or did or thought of doing, at the very least announced that they were going to do a collaboration. And I think for a lot of members of the indie perfume community, they saw a very reputable, respected indie house pairing with someone who, frankly, allegedly scammed so many members of that same community, and it just didn't make sense at all. And my understanding is that those two owners are friends behind the scene, but you can just imagine that this would leave a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. So that happened. And I believe during this drama, I wish I could find it, but I can't, but it was either the 1692 owner or the Arcana Craves owner who made a comment about how something along the lines of, the people who are mad about this weren't going to buy from me anyways. No point being upset over losing tens of dollars. Something like that. And again, this rubbed a lot of people the wrong way because we've all seen what the economy has been like over the past few years. And even if the economy is great, like people, at least some people, care about where their money goes. They care about receiving the products that they receive, even if it is, quote unquote, tens of dollars. If you buy 3 perfume bottles, that might be like $60, $80, $100. That's tens of dollars, but that might still matter to you as a consumer. And so to have someone mock that, again, just not the best look. And then lastly, my understanding is Arcana Craves had this perfume that they were releasing, and as part of that, they like said the name of the perfume. And I think someone in a comment section somewhere said something like, hey, not sure if you're aware, but I think like this name has ties to slavery, basically. And they weren't accusatory. They were being very gentle and productive in how they raised it. And I believe that that one comment got blown so out of proportion by the owner posting like several screenshots of like conversations and basically denigrating the people who then became concerned over the use of this word for perfume. All I can really say is the name of the perfume, I've only heard it used in a different context. I'm able and willing to believe that that's the way that the owner had originally heard the name, but the reaction to someone politely, calmly bringing up that concern was not handled well. And so again, that just like leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. So I bring this up because I care about where my money goes, not in every single instance, but with something discretionary like perfume, I am able and willing to put my money towards brands that align with my values, I guess, and appreciate me as a customer. And so if you're the same, you might appreciate this information. You can go looking on the Indie Makeup and More subreddit for more detailed like screenshots and all of that. If you don't care about this, then that's all fine and good too. You don't have to care about it. I'll also mention that although the store has closed, there are current decanters who have like samples available for some of their scents. So their perfumes are still out there. They show up all the time in like perfume destashes and decanters, and there's like the company in Australia that you can still purchase from, although I imagine shipping would be quite expensive. So they are generally like still around. From my point of view, going forward, there were, I think maybe like 5 scents that I wanted to full size and like 4 or so that I was considering full sizing. And while I can't purchase from them directly anymore, and I wouldn't want to just because I do just tend to side with customers in situations like this, I might explore other methods of getting those scents. In particular, I would love to buy them from someone who has it and found it didn't work for them and is now destashing it. So I imagine that that's how I will proceed going forward. So I think that's all that I had to discuss today. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Were you able to try Arcana Craves before they closed down? And if not, is there any scent that I mentioned today that you might be interested in trying? Before I go, I'd like to take a minute to thank you for taking time out of your day to spend watching this video. It really means a lot to me. Thank you.